We got a heat wave. Oh, I gotta get my microphone. That's what I better do.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's very hot. Dog days of summer. These are the dog days of summer.
Yeah, yeah. We got, but by God, we just keep on chugging along.
Yeah, it ain't that bad this year, so.
Nope,
It's
nope.
been a nice summer so far, so.
Yeah, it really has.
I mean, it hasn't been like 100 since June.
Yep, we're hitting our 100-degree stuff, enjoying life. So we thought we'd come in an air-conditioned trailer, the only place around here with air conditioning, and we would talk about decoy and work,
Dog stuff.
dog stuff,
Yep.
ice water. Anybody believes that? I got some stuff I want to sell you.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, dog. So what we thought about doing was, you got all sorts of different terminologies in the dog world, right? And I've learned that, what X in Texas is Z in Tennessee, and in California it's A, B, C, D, because they got all the, how you call them, sir. No offense, California, no offense. But so we're going to clear up a couple of terms if you're in the protection world, in my take on them. And as old as I am, that's a historical take, I might add, folks. So we're going to clear a couple of them up and address the different jobs of the decoy helper, agitator / crazy guys getting dog bit.
Yep.
So first, where the terms come from. When Schutzen came here, I forget the German term for it, but the man getting bit with a sleeve was called the helper. And these titles have a lot to do with what that person's job is. So think about it. Every one of these disciplines has a different purpose for their decoy, agitator, helper. Okay? So the helper in Schutzen was literally, part of his job was to show the dog to the judge at the best advantage. Okay? That's why they called him a helper. Then, along about, what was it, 70, 80, 72, when French Ring came over here, we started hearing a different term. We started hearing the term help or decoy. Because in French Ring, this is all about athleticism, quick dogs, not as much emphasis on the bite, like in Schutzen, the bite was all important. In French Ring, it was catch as catch can, and the amazing work that the guys in the suits do, the decoys, their job was to be better than the dog. Whereas in Schutzen, because it's a certification trial, it was started off as a breed certification, the helper was there to make the dog do as well as he could in front of the judges. So now we're going to oppose that with French Ring. We're going to dodge the dog. We're going to slip. Entirely different way of working. Before both of those were here in this country, when I first started, we had an agitator. And I think if you go back to the Kohler books, Scott, you can, it's called an agitator.
Agitator, yes.
And his job was just that, stir the pot, get the dog excited.
Fire the dog up.
So it wasn't a trial position, it was a training position. So it's got an entirely different focus and skill set than the decoys or the helpers. What you hadn't been to that, you hadn't done any of the Schutzen stuff yet, but
A bit. We did some here a bit. Not a lot, but.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you've done the barking.
No, it's different because, like you're saying, the trial decoys, they need to know the rules, they need to know what the judges want, and they need to assimilate to all the dogs to give like the dog the best chance to win.
Right.
And you got to be on your game. That's a whole different technique.
Right.
That, I'm sure the same way with French Ring and whatever else. Agitators, a trial decoy, and then there's agitator, training decoys.
Right.
Agitator, but just basically you need to know how to read dogs, and you're training these dogs to a point where you can give them to their handlers, and they go see these trial decoys, and the dogs perform. Performance building. It's two
Right.
different genres.
Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you get, now, like I said, you need to be consistent with the way you work. The French ring decoys are going to be adjusting to every dog, but their judges and decoys are skilled enough to know if they're getting that same consistency in the performance of the dog. And the same thing goes in Schutzens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to show the dog off or give him. In Schutzen, you're going to get him to show off his biting ability.
And succeed.
And right, how quickly the courage test is designed to see how quickly and efficiently he switches from prey to defense drive, and stays in fight and doesn't choose flight. There's a lot of little subtleties in Schutzen that I haven't heard people talk about in the last 15, 16 years, but there's a lot to it. So French ring, which I'm not as familiar with, I trained one of the dogs who was in the very first ring trials in this country. You've heard me mention it before, Stuart Hilliard up there in Rattlesnake Ring Club in Colorado. And but I'm not as familiar with it. I've learned it over the years, and to me, if you want to challenge your dog, those are the boys to get to come up. We had a bunch of them when I was in El Paso. Ring was very popular in Mexico, and we had quite a few of the French ring decoys who studied in France, went back to Mexico, and then they'd come to my guard dog company to practice their moves on different dogs. So I got familiar with it. All this is sort of by way of saying, when you're picking, if you want to compete in a sport, because now we've got all the American sports, right? What are we going to call their helper / decoy / agitator, and what position are they taking when you go to this competition? Is it a competition to show the dog's ability and your training, or is it a competition to show the dog and his ability to stop a man, like French ring? That's what you got to decide.
What discipline you decide to go with.
Right.
Yeah.
And
there's a difference.
yeah, there's a big difference.
And, trials are, so basically when you're agitating, your training decoy, you need to learn nuances and things to build these dogs.
Right.
Right?
Exactly
It's
right.
a totally different situation. I mean, it's practice, right? But you're training, you're learning the dog, and you're bringing the best out of that dog. And you hand them over to their handler, and they go see a trial. And most trial decoys, I'm sure a lot can read dogs, but their job is not, the dog already knows what to do. Right?
Yeah.
He's ready.
Right.
Now let's just get him going and,
right.
showcase his talents. And that's, like I said, it's a totally different set of skills.
Mm-hmm. And here's a pet peeve of mine. This is going to irritate some folks out there, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've run across more people in this country that are, they're probably really good trial decoys, and they say, well, I trained so many police departments, or I trained this, and what they mean by the word I trained is I put on a suit and got bit.
Caught a dog.
Yeah, I can catch dogs.
That's something in itself too, to do right.
Sure, it is. But that doesn't make you a dog trainer by a stretch, by a long stretch. It doesn't make you a police dog trainer. So you've got to kind of look out for, depending. If you want to be the most all around, it's like I always say, because I'm highly biased, you can give me a sport dog and put him in a pro sports trial, which is all scenario based, real life guard dog and personal protection dog stuff, and he probably won't do so well because he doesn't have his pattern. But you can take a guard dog trained strictly on command and his instincts and put him in any one of the sport trials, and they'll do pretty good. So the same thing applies when you're talking about the helper / decoy. The agitator, they may not be a dog trainer, but they are very good at understanding a dog's emotions. And they're really good at bringing those, whichever emotion, I'm going to use the word emotion, drive, whatever you want to say. If they need to make a dog tougher, if they need to make a dog who is more of a man stopper, they can switch him into defense in a way that never ever even starts to put him into flight, but makes him fight harder and harder. If they need a dog who has more confidence, who may be a little lacking in the confidence about running somebody down, an agitator knows how to bring up the prey drive to the point that this dog will run through a brick wall. So the only difference between an agitator, I think, and a full-fledged trainer is that the agitator reads the dog like the trainer has to do. The agitator knows what type of moves it takes to excite or depress the dog, just as a trainer knows how to do. The difference is the trainer has done enough of the agitating through the years and worked with enough different dogs that he not only understands how to tinker with the dog's emotions, he understands the techniques that you need to employ to do the tinkering. So there's the definition. You have helpers, decoys, agitators, and trainers. And these are the things you need to look at when you're, if you're looking for a club to train your dog or a person to train your dog, you can kind of judge from what they tell you their experience level is to where they're at.
I read somewhere a guy, old boy, said, I won't let nobody take a whip to my dog unless he can get his dog to heel.
Unless he can get his dog to heel?
Talking about the decoys.
Yeah.
Get his dog to heel, then we'll talk. But you can't.
Ain't gonna do it.
That's pretty hard nosed, but
yeah.
Everybody has their way of doing things, I reckon. So.
Yeah, and that's it. And there's going to be 1,000 people disagree with me. I'm just going by the results I've gotten over a few years.
And people stop arguing all the time and trying to prove each other wrong or get off their egos and share this information. There'd be a hell of a system in this country for agitators.
Wouldn't it though?
Yeah, but
wow. I never thought about that, Scott.
I mean, who's to say who's wrong and who's right? But there's some blatancy, but you know a lot of stuff, and somebody else here knows something, and you put all that information together and share it.
Ooh.
And it'd be better for the dogs, right?
Yeah.
For everybody. Actually.
Yeah. And with pro sports, when we hit our peak, we had trainers from, at our finals, we would have 3 or 4 different countries represented. I'm talking about people who came from Denmark, from Sweden, France, Australia to compete. And we had judges from Australia and Denmark and all these other countries as well. And we had competitors from California to New York, down to Florida, and a whole bunch of states in between.
All the way to Saskatoon.
All the way to Saskatoon, yep. And I never realized it, but that was probably one of the more educational periods that I've ever been through.
If you don't reach out and share the knowledge and learn from other people, you stay in a rut.
Where are you going to go?
Where are you going to go? But nowhere.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. But I'm not a trainer.
He's an agitator, and he knows it.
I know it.
So, to that effect,
I'm not ashamed.
We're gonna try this fall to expand everybody's access to knowledge, and we're not sure yet on a date. But think about this: if you're an active decoy or an active helper in one of your clubs or maybe in business, and you want to expand a little bit on what you do, we're going to have probably at least a minimum 4-day. We might make it longer. Event here. It's going to be strictly about, and we're going to concentrate on decoys. And I know, the average decoy seminar that I've seen in this country consists of put on a suit. I don't understand the reasoning behind this, but I swear this is what they do. And then they'll have everybody in a suit, usually at high noon, run around laps.
Decoy boot camp?
Yeah.
Hell no.
This was going to work on the dogs. How you can tell if this dog is confident enough to go forward, and if he's not confident enough, how do you get him confident enough? In other words, the nuts and bolts of bringing a dog out and starting him. Remember,
And it's not always in a suit.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'll leave that there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a pet peeve of Scott's. It won't always be in a suit. But these are the nuances that in the last 15, 20 years seem to have been completely lost in this country. It's all just get you a, high-powered Malinois who's jute junkies, just total stone cold crazy, and stick your arm out and let him suck on it.
A lot of things, the way society is today, everything is at the tip of your fingers, right? There's computers and internet and cloud. Information is like this. So getting these dogs to 0 to 100 isn't like this. It takes time. But there are ways to work with that time you got and maximize what you're doing in the time you've got to spend with those dogs. But people expect to have a man stopper on their 3rd session.
Yeah.
Well, your dog's doing that. Well, dog's about 4 years old, and he's been, I learned that too. I first come out and I saw some dogs out here, and I was like, when I first had my first Dobie, and I was like, man, a couple of weeks, we'll be doing that.
Couple of weeks.
And Butch shaking his head, he goes, no, it might take a little longer than that. But anyway, it's just, you want it, and you want it now, because it's what you want,
Right.
But anyway.
So one last question. How do you really know if you're an agitator, you're going to know when you're working with your trainer, because you're going to see the results of all sorts of dogs. They won't be just Malinois. They won't be just German Shepherds or Rotties. You're going to see an array of dogs, hopefully if you're working at a pretty successful kennel, and you're going to get all of them biting like they're Malinois. Now you're going to know you're a good agitator. You'll know that simply by the results. But how do you know if you've made it? And I don't know if NARA even exists anymore. That was the original ring sport deal here. They have certification systems set up for their decoys.
They have them for TSA and PSA.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
They're online. Yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
You certified decoys.
Yeah. So how do you know if you make a good trial decoy though? That's the difference. And one way you can know is if you get one of these. Can you zoom in on this, Curly?
Yes, I can. Give me 1 second.
Let me know when you're zoomed up.
Okay. Okay.
Huh? Okay, so this organization has all this set up. It's got a specific program for trial decoys. It's got a minimum number of trials for them to work at. It's got a minimum number of dogs and types of dogs that they have to be able to work consistently. And that's when they know when you make a trial decoy, you'll have one of these that you can show everybody. Right, Scott?
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. No, it is. But that's another trial. But to me, it's like anything else, right? You can just catch dogs, or you can learn about dogs and then catch dogs too.
Yep.
The biggest thing about the trial is the consistency. You got to be on your game.
Right.
You got to be on top of your stuff, and you want to make that dog succeed.
Yeah.
So.
That's the biggest, because
That's why you come out here and work. So no one sees all all your bloopers or all your holes you get in your
holes,
body.
yeah.
But anyway,
Yep. And that's,
so, I appreciate that, Butch.
well, you're quite welcome. I think you earned it, by golly.
All right.
So, like I said, this fall, if you think you can earn one of those, or if you think you want to learn how to earn one of those, then give us a call anytime. And as soon as this heat drops off, we'll be back to Saturday training. And Scott's always looking for people who want to learn. He'll sure help you in every way he can.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, I'm going to go find a bucket of ice to sit in.
Shit. No, it's cooling off though. It's only 102 now.
Yeah. Sun went down, I forgot. So,
Almost.
so,
Find you an oak tree or a pecan tree and you'll be all right, right?
yep. Until that time, remember, Scott, it's what?
It's time for a taco. No, it's actually, working dogs, doing the best you can with the dogs, catching them, handling them. But it's all about the dogs, right? It's always all about the dogs. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend and peace.
Hit your thumb, give everybody a thumbs up. Check out my Facebook page, learn what a thumbs up means.